even the most terrible things, if he has said them or believed them or thought them, they should go into the diary. 150 volumes of manuscript that was encased in a bank in Boston. He fancied himself a man of the world, able to meet with anybody, and in a fashion he did, but he was always finally in this protected environment. He wouldn't have lasted a minute in the real world. I first heard of the Inman Diary through David Donald, who had read it and had been asked by the trustees to evaluate it to see how important it might be as a historical document or as a publishable document.
I'll never forget the first day that I went into the office to start my job, and one of the people from the Boston Safe Deposit and Trust Company came with boxes and boxes and trunks of diaries.
And when I first started to look through this stuff, and particularly the early chapters when he was first keeping the diary, when he was a kind of practically pubescent adolescent, awful, spoiled, terrible, mawkish. I said, my God, what have I got myself in for?
The diary was something that Arthur, well, let's put it this way, it was something that he insisted had to go on. It was his reason for life.
He had a tentacular memory, and some of the finest things in the diary are just recollections of odors, sounds, impressions of the schools he attended.
Arthur, of course, never worked a day in his life. I think that was one of the biggest motivating force for this years-long diary, was that this is how he was going to make his name, not necessarily his fortune, but his name to be remembered in the world.
He wanted fame, obviously, that was clear. From the very beginning of his career, he wanted to be noted. He wanted to have great reviews of his poems. He was interested in anything that would somehow make him a character, a name, any kind of notice of him. Arthur Inman professed to detest his father and to have very strongly ambivalent feelings about his mother. His poor old father, whom he came to terms with at the end of the diary, is, I think, always seriously misjudged. He turns him into a kind of inept stuffed shirt, part of the old family tradition. But the strong member of the family is the mother. Just look at her picture in the diary, and you can see her. She looks as if she should command a regiment.
His mother was very, very cold and uncaring to him, and at least that's the picture that you draw from the diary and reading the diary.
When it comes to the subject of Arthur Inman and his wife Evelyn, a very, very mysterious relationship. I don't think I've ever been able to understand. I never was able to understand her when I had asked him later, after he died, why did you stay with him for so long? As a young girl, when she married him, she was in awe of him. He was a poet and came from an old family and was well-to-do and all that.
The help wanted ads. This was a place where Evelyn Inman played a very important role. Arthur wanted, because he was in this dark room all the time, interesting people, to read and talk to him.
These people would come up and we would pay them $1, sometimes a bit more if he liked them. Then they become characters. They become members, and they become part of the story. Well, he did have a kind of kinky side to him. There were the young girls and young ladies. Imagine, they would come into this dark room, and there was this man with a very nice, soft southern voice.
This is Arthur Inman, and he's sitting in the middle of a dark room and holding the microphone in front of him and talking into it and not knowing what on earth he's going to say, but saying it on as fast as he can.
The whole question of Arthur Inman and sex is a very complicated one. I think he was particularly a person who liked sex very much, all that. He liked to be affectionately treated. He liked to be caressed. He liked to be told that he was wonderful. And he wanted to hear all about their sexual adventures. So he would get a vicarious pleasure, probably, from listening to this. But he regarded this as innocent. I think Evelyn did too. She encouraged him. It got him off her back, so that she would arrange, she would pimp for him. But if you think of this life, this woman who did so many things to make life bearable for him, she knew that he was hypochondriac the way he was, that he was going through these horrors. He'd have these terrible migraines. Everything was wrong to him, up to a comical degree. Things fall apart, the center will not hold, he's falling to pieces all the time.
Some degree of mercury poisoning is also a possibility, because he was given calomel early in the 20th century, and calomel is mercurous chloride. In other words, you're giving someone mercury. He was being given it and taken it, and it caused mercurous poisoning.
Arthur died on December 5th, 1963. I think largely because of the massive construction project that was going on right near where he lived.
And then things are going on at the same time that are destroying his life at Garrison Hall, because they're putting up this huge building, the Prudential Center in Boston, and all kinds of noises are coming in. Noise will kill him all the way through. Noise has been the great demon that has shattered his life, because he's so sensitive to so many different kinds of vibrations. And this time he can take it no longer. He tries to move out. He's tried suicide twice. He keeps a gun. And finally, shortly after the assassination of Kennedy, he does it. I think this is a great diary. I think it's a very important work for American society and American history.